They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys. I know y'all do not like these videos, but I think that they are probably some of the most useful videos that we make just because it may be fun to go through and talk about buy lows, but really it's kind of easier to go through and sell some of these players high that have been extremely hot as of late, and they are exciting players, and that's the reason I am telling you to sell them high. I'm never going to be the guy coming out here and telling you, hey, sell high on Blake Griffin. He just signed. You're going to get so much. No, obviously you're not going to get much. Yes, I'll tell you to sell him if you can get anything by including him in the package, but I would rather tell you to sell high on some names that are a little bit hot right now because we go, you know what? Let's sell some players we're going to get a ton of value for. Just if we can get $1 and they're worth 90 cents, then that's a massive profit, and we're going to be doing that every single time. But before we get into the video, please go down there, guys, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, join Premier Gang, join Notification Gang, hit that bell next to the subscribe button. That way you can come out to these premieres, we can talk, I can answer your questions as we watch the videos together. I will be transparent though in that, yes, today I am hanging out in the premiere, but over the next two, I'm going to be driving from Texas to Florida to A, vacation, and B, see my family. So not going to be able to hang out in the premieres those 2 days, but we will still have videos then. And outside of that, I should be in them every day. But that's it, and let's get into our first player, someone that everybody loves. This is going to be Damian Lillard. And I know y'all are going, Mason, what? Shut up. Why would you ever say this? And the reason is simple. Okay, so with Dame, I mean, he has pretty much been Russell Westbrook with his triple-double season. And no, obviously, he's not up there with the rebounds. Obviously, he's not up there chasing those stats. But what I mean by that is Dame, right now, for the Trailblazers, is doing absolutely everything. And he has been for a long time now with both the CJ McCollum and the Nurkic injuries. Now, I will say this, it was necessary for Dame to really just push his body to the absolute limit, do everything that he can by playing these back-to-backs, playing a ridiculous amount of minutes, bringing the ball up the court every single time, attacking the basket. You can only imagine what kind of toll that has taken on Damian Lillard. And what I am expecting to happen is I am not expecting Dame to be sitting any games. I'm not expecting him to see a drastic fall off in his minutes played. But when we get CJ McCollum back, as well as Nurkic, I think what we are going to end up seeing is we are going to see that Dame, he needs to take his foot off the gas just slightly to kind of give his body a break going into the NBA playoffs. And when would that happen? When is that going to happen? That's going to happen during our fantasy basketball playoffs. So that's the reason, while Damian Lillard has been on fire. And for a category format, we understand that CJ McCollum and Nurkic coming back into the rotation probably going to help Damian Lillard with his already sky-high efficiency numbers. So a category league you probably want to just be holding because we know how much of a difference maker he can be there. But in a points league where we are pretty much just chasing pure volume, I think we are going to see the volume go down drastically for Damian Lillard, as it should, because he needs a break going into the NBA playoffs, so we can go back to Dame time when it matters. Okay, so now our next player, going to be a little bit harder to get full value from him, but for whatever reason, if you're playing in a league where people aren't kind of paying attention, they're just looking at the point performances, Joe Harris is going to be a sell for me currently. And I know Joe Harris by no means is with that star level of a Damian Lillard, but he is still providing you consistent production on a game-to-game basis over the past month. But he's been playing an intriguing role for this team where we know that this team doesn't really have defense. This team really doesn't have big men. So Joe Harris has been playing a little bit more of that small guy five. And I think what we are going to end up seeing is we're going to see Kevin Durant come in, Blake Griffin come in a week from now, and pretty much going to take that role entirely away from Joe Harris, especially considering that Andre Drummond is talked about being bought out, as well as LaMarcus Aldridge. And right now, if you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, the other clear favorite for the NBA Finals, you go, that roster looks pretty set. What's the one roster where they are a clear favorite in their conference and at the same time there are some minutes available? That's going to be Brooklyn. So while Joe Harris has been fantastic for this team is getting a front court that looks like it's getting a little more crowded. Obviously, Griffin coming in, and I think they're going to bring in one other guy at the same time. So if you can get anything for Joe Harris with the amount of production he's provided you as of late, I'm looking to do that ASAP. And how you do this a little bit more sneaky. You're not going to be able to do the same thing with Dame Lillard, obviously. You're going to kind of construct a deal around 2 stars. Maybe like you go out and just, for an example, this isn't going to work in every league, but maybe you have Dame Lillard and Joe Harris on the same team. You just go, hey, I want to trade Dame for, just say, Nikola Jokic or someone in that tier. And you go, hey, I'll throw in Joe Harris. Look, he's averaging X amount of points over the past month. And then they go, okay, you know what? I like Dame Lillard. Maybe we're going to get someone else to bring in some depth. Maybe someone just lost a player like Joel Embiid. And while no, Joe Harris isn't qualified to play that on Yahoo, he at the very minimum can provide that owner some depth. So I think you throw Joe Harris in a 2-for-1 deal, trying to get an upgrade somewhere else in your starting lineup. Okay, so now let's go to our next player, someone that every single question in the Premier is about. It's, Mason, what do you think about Kevin Porter Jr.? What do you think about Porter Jr.? Porter Jr. over and over and over again. And to be honest, yes, he has the upside. Yes, he is exciting, but he is a sell. In the very limited action that we've seen from Kevin Porter Jr., he has been incredible in the fantasy points he has provided, but it has come with the lack of efficiency. So what I'm looking at right now is I am looking at a Houston Rockets roster that is plagued by injuries. We know that they're on like a 13-14 game losing streak. They have Daniel House Jr., Christian Wood, John Wall, Karooks, Eric Gordon, Dante Exum, all currently on the injury report, and they're all scheduled to come back one by one, slowly but surely. So with Porter Jr., yes, he's exciting, but I think what we are going to end up seeing for his first 5 games, he is going to provide a ton of production, and then what we are going to find is we are going to find that one by one, when these players come back, we are going to see the amount of field goal attempts for Porter Jr. to go down, and I think the overall points go with it. So I think right now, don't do it immediately, but wait 3 or 4 days, let the buzz build, and then see if you can do something similar to what you're trying to do with a Joe Harris and including him in a larger deal. All right, so now let's go to a player that I don't want to say he's likely to get moved before the deadline. I think it's maybe a little bit more likely now that Joel Embiid went down, but Kyle Lowry. And here with Kyle Lowry, I understand. I mean, probably the most iconic player for the Raptors fans. I mean, that franchise has been built around Lowry for so long now, but they just gave that massive contract to Fred VanVleet, and Kyle Lowry is up for a new contract this upcoming season. So you go through and they go, okay, it looks like they are officially handing the reins over. If you pretty much listen to any NBA podcast, all they talk about every single day is, hey, where is Kyle Lowry being traded to? Where is he being traded to? And the number 1 destination is going to be the 76ers. The number 2 destination sounds like it would be Miami. And neither one of these spots, in my opinion, would be fantastic for his fantasy value. I think what we would end up seeing is him play a key role in turning these teams that are so close to being favorites in the Eastern Conference to maybe pushing them over the edge slightly. But for fantasy, I think leaving Toronto or Tampa Bay, however you want to look at it, would not be a good move for Kyle Lowry. And he's been performing very well over the past month, so you should be able to see a significant amount of value for him. All right, so now our next 2 players are going to be a little bit interesting in that, no, they are not big names, so it's going to be harder to trade them. You're going to more so trade them with guys that are paying attention, guys that are looking at the stats they are providing over the past 30 days. This first guy's going to be TJ McConnell, who right now over the past 30 days, if you've had him on your roster, you're like, okay, is this just found money? Because he has been fantastic. But Karis LeVert coming back very, very soon. I mean, this is going to be drastic in taking minutes and taking shots away from TJ McConnell. And we understand, no, he's not a player that needs to be taking a significant amount of shots every game to be effective, especially in those category formats where his efficiency is already pretty high. I just think that Caris LeVert is a much better player. So what we are going to end up seeing is we're going to see LeVert come into the rotation, and not right away. Obviously, they're going to work him in. It's a new team. He's coming back from that scary injury. And I know y'all are going to say, Mason, injury, it's not an injury. Whatever you want to call it. But here with TJ McConnell, if you can get anything close in trade value to the production value he's given you over the past month, I think that's something you look to do. All right, so our last player going to be just like that where, yeah, I mean, he's not a big name, but the production has been there. So if you can trade him anything close to that production, I think you do it. Terrence Ross, who right now has been dominating in Orlando. I mean, I did not expect this. I did not expect this type of production. But at the same time, we understand that, hey, it looks like Aaron Gordon's coming back. It looks like Evan Fournier coming back. So with Terrence Ross, maybe we are going to see the drop-off in minutes played. Maybe we are going to see the drop-off in usage. And we know that this is just a Magic team right now that really does not have the depth, that really has been hit with significant injuries. And I know a lot of these guys like Markelle Fultz, they're not coming back this year. But still, I think what we are seeing with Terrence Ross right now, a player that has been around in the NBA for a very, very long time and very rarely has ever given you this type of production. I think this is more so just the overall situation dictating that someone's going to have to score the fantasy points, someone's going to have to be playing the minutes, and that role fell on Terrence Ross, but I am unsure how long it will stay there. Okay, now guys, what I need from y'all is please, even if you're in the premiere, do this in the comment section because I want people watching this video later on to as well see this. If y'all have any criticism on not only something I said in this video, but as well just what I'm doing with these videos, what I'm saying on a day-to-day basis, maybe you would want a different structure. Literally, any type of criticism, I don't care if it's very mean, I don't care if it's I don't care what it is. If you think there's something that I am doing wrong, if you think there's something that I could be doing better, please let me know in the comment section and do it in the comment section. That way people can go down there and they can decide, hey, I agree with this, I don't agree with this, blah, blah, blah. And it will help us just continue to build the community, continue to build the channel. And yeah, that's it. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much, especially everyone who's decided to come out to the premiere and hang out with me for this long. And that's it. Drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.